What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the award-winning Nintendo podcast, backed by 100. Is that too loud? Is it?
No, that's fine. I didn't know you were award-winning.
Oh, you were shaking your head like, holy shit! It just went loud all of a sudden. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the award-winning Nintendo podcast, backed by 120 Power Star rating. And the doors to episode 104 are open. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me for the first time is Jackson Phillips, aka Wacko Jacko. How we going, my friend?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself? Thank you for having me on the show.
No worries at all. So this week, Bryce is sick. He's got the cold.
He's got the man flu.
He's got the man flu, probably. I saw him. He said he had a headache. You know, so tell you what, Bryce, you don't have to talk into the microphone this week. I'll give you the week off. I won't crack the whip this week.
Take it easy, mate. Just take it easy.
So I put out the call onto Twitter, and you answered. You said you'd like to come on the show to have a talk about Nintendo and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it'd be different for a change, considering after hosting a podcast to be a guest on another one. So yeah, I'm excited.
It does feel weird. Like, I know when I go on other podcasts, it feels a lot weirder just being the guest rather than sort of running the show. But
yes, yep.
So you get to experience that today.
Absolutely.
So for those out there who don't know who you are, don't know what you do, sort of introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, as you said, my name is Wacko Jacko on Twitter. I do a bit of lots of different things. Mainly competitive Splatoon player for a team called Venomous Squids, who I'm somehow a captain of. So I try to control them, and we do our playing every now and then. We have an Oceanic series currently on the moment, so we do weekly matches against a bunch of other teams in a division. But when I'm not doing that, I'm doing a lot of Pokemon hunting on Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I'm a bit of a PC gamer, so I'll fluctuate between a few games on PC and Switch. And I do stream, and I try to record video. I used to do YouTube videos as well, but that's sort of on the lay low because now Twitch is now a thing. And yeah, I just get involved with the communities and people, and that's all I can really say at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess this is a question I like to ask to sort of get a feel about sort of your Nintendo gaming sort of habits. But what would be the top 3 favorite Nintendo franchises?
You had to do this. You had to do this.
I know. It doesn't have to be an official list or anything, but just what comes to your head, like, these are the series that I send to...
Well, okay, so one of the first ones, probably the Mario Kart series, because I played the very first Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, and before it went weird, Donkey Kong Country series, 1, 2, and 3 on the Super Nintendo were amazing. What they've done on the Wii U, I couldn't really get into it, to be honest, but I still like the series. And I guess Super Smash Bros. Is the series.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that's probably my top 3 favorite. So all the main games, but yeah, that was so much fun though.
So how come you can't get into sort of the newer Donkey Kong games?
It just doesn't feel right. Like, I think it's because I'm probably a little older than I used to be, and I don't appreciate the newer things as much as they used to be. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 on Super Nintendo were classic games, and it was weird because I remember going back watching replays on people doing Let's Plays of them, and it was like, whoa, I remember that. And then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze or whatever it was, it just felt so different and somewhat alienated to me. I guess it's because, like I said, I'm more used to the nostalgic new things. For the Donkey Kong Country games were weird. I tried it, to be honest, but I think in the end, the idea was that you can invite someone else to play with you, which I didn't at the time because I was all by myself. It was very hard to play. And so, I kind of... When Smash came out, that sort of was my next to-go-to game, and that was just so much fun. And obviously Mario Kart being so rage-inducing, but yeah, and fun at the same time.
Yeah. At least now Mario Kart 8, you can sort of deflect the rage a little bit. What's it called actually? The sound box?
Something
boom
like
box?
That. Correct. Yeah, the boom box.
I actually forgot what it's called. But
it's called the boom box, I believe, because that's the one that protects you from the blue shell. So, yeah. Thank goodness that's in.
God's item.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm interested to learn about sort of your competitive Splatoon play. Like, I'm always interested in sort of the more competitive side. Yep. I myself, I'm not good enough at any game to get competitive.
Same.
So okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that? Was it just a love for the game?
Well, it was weird because like when I first for Splatoon on the Wii U, I bought that late after like I didn't know any of the community and I was only watching YouTube videos of people playing it. Never really was that into it, but like in Splatoon 2 when that came up, the hype came up and like I got back into the community, the Oceanic community. That's where everyone who in Australia or New Zealand joins to talk with one another, play with one another. It's just an amazing community. But I thought I want to try something different that I haven't really done before, and that was to be in a competitive team. So my first team I was a part of, Team Proxy, remember, forever rest in peace, Team Proxy. I was a sub, but because of players and certain people were busy with other things, I ended up being a main player. So that was the first sort of taste of competitive, but then after the team sort of folded because of activity was like very minimal, me and another teammate decided to make our own team, and ever since it's been probably about a year and 2 months since we've started this new team, and it's been amazing playing with others from all over Australia and parts of international as well. We've got one player from Thailand, so it's really something. It really, to a degree, it can enhance the experience of playing a game, but at the same time, if you're not doing well, then you can feel real down and out about it. But I think that's the thing with most Nintendo games, like the ones that aren't really meant to be competitive, like you got your Smash and obviously Splatoon and Mario Kart, obviously. You can take these games competitively. At the same time, for me personally, I want to have fun, and obviously winning with a competitive team is fun, a lot more fun than just playing by yourself, because Splatoon 2 is a game that makes you sort of have to play with one another, and it's probably a really good way to dwell amongst the others and enjoy playing the same game you like playing together. So yeah, it's we're currently Div 3, so I might as well keep going. So in the Oceanic community, we have a thing called the Oceanic Series, which there's 7 divisions, and in each division there's 6 or so teams where we play each other once, and then there's a playoff and everything. And so we've been. This is our 4th season, and we're in Div 3, which is okay. It's kind of like mid-tier teams where, you know, everyone's not amazing, but they're good at certain things. So yeah, we're kind of midway through that, and being captain of a team, it's really weird because like you have to rely on your judgment, on your times to like make the right choices of what part of the play you should be doing. It's just it's really hard to explain fully because like it's just such an amazing experience being part of a team, and the competitiveness can sort of get to you mentally. And not really physically, but mentally, because it drains you. You're making all these decisions, like what should your teammates do, and there's just so many different types of game modes and maps. It's just, I could let you go on all day, but I don't think I will.
Yeah, what I love about Splatoon, like, I can't pull these moves off, but when I go in there, I'm like, all right, got to paint as much as I can, and obviously when you advance, you go into the other modes and everything. But what I love is just how much team play there is, sort of like, you know, you basically like covering bits of the map yourself, and like you're sort of trying to work out who should cover this, who should be on the defensive, and it's really interesting to watch, especially seeing like sort of the Splatoon tournaments at E3s the last couple of years, and having Australia represented there is really cool.
Yeah, we've always had a rep for the past 3 championships. So yeah, there's usually a team from Australia, New Zealand, a team from Europe, a team from America, and a team from Japan. So Japan's always been the dominating side. It's always been the same team actually that's been at the World Champions. So
really
kind of explains it really. But
yeah,
like it's still cool to see being represented at the world stage and like saying that, hey, the rest of the world, this little place down under, we can play the Squid Game pretty well. So
yeah, we can play the Squid Game.
Yep, that's what we say.
Also, what I really like about sort of the competitive Nintendo games too, from what I can tell, the community is like really, really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really warming.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Oceanic community is so inviting. Like, there's so many people there. Like on the Discord server, there's a place called Boot Camp where essentially if you need help with a certain build, a certain gear, a certain weapon, like if you need advice, anyone in there will help you out. There's also areas where you can ask for people to play with, and without doubt there'll be always someone to play with you. It's just such an opening community, and similar to the Smash scene, I guess. The Smash scene's a little different because that's more individuals, but it's still in a way it can be based the same way. So I think in Australia we do have like in the abilities for all games, we have a good community-based sort of effect. Where like in the US, they didn't really have much of a community for Splatoon. They sort of have they call these groups where certain groups would run certain tournaments and stuff like that. But in Australia, we're all under one sort of thing, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like in Adelaide and that. When I go to AvCon to like see all that stuff, it's really cool seeing all the communities come together for that event. And I think if I lived in a bigger city with more people, more gamers and all that, I reckon I'd be a bit more a part of it. But since it's so like disconnected on the internet and that, I just haven't really taken the step to really get into it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because maybe if I did sit down and train, I could get good at Splatoon. But usually when I sit down and play Splatoon, it's at the end of work and I'm just like, all right, this is sort of a let off steam. This isn't to like make some awesome plays to share on my Twitter and get all that glory.
Yep, can relate. So yeah. And I guess I might as well get this off my chest. The weapon I main is the GROOVECUBE. I think you know what it looks like. For those who don't know, it was considered the meme weapon of the game. But because of recent patches and updates, it's considered to be pretty strong. Even though it's a very hard weapon to play, I just have so much fun with it because you can swim around with whole charge. You can do a thing now called goo bag, which is essentially a squid bagging, but you still got your whole charge. It's just amazing. And main power up as well, because since this is the updates, they've been bringing on these abilities and stuff. Main power up, which increases the damage on your charge, and it's just it's weird because like out of all the weapons that have been nerfed or patched or buffed, the GROOVECUBE has never been nerfed, and I can only thank Nogami for that because it is the perfect weapon.
Right, I mean, it's literally the only weapon that hasn't been touched.
Yes, correct. So, yeah, I enjoy playing the GROOVECUBE very much. So
someone's looking out for you then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. The Splatoon 2 is such a unique game because like it's nothing like your Call of Duty, it's nothing like your Battlefield, nothing like any other shooter you can think of. So.
Yeah, not quite.
Very different. So yeah.
Yeah, what sort of the team's called? What was it? Venomous Squids?
Correct. Yes, Venomous Squids.
So how did you sort of link up with them and get involved in that team?
Well, so basically, Venomous Squids started by a guy having an alt account, and he had the name VS Yuri, which wasn't his actual name, but I don't know where he got the Yuri part from. But I asked him what the VS stand for, and he said, "Oh, it stands for Venomous Squids. I just made it up." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's not a bad name." So we took that name and combined a new team, and we asked in the Oceanic Discord server if for team recruitment we wanted to ask people who wanted to join the team, and it was pretty quickly. We got about 7 or 8 members pretty quickly. So yeah, it's been pretty good team so far. Like we've reached highs Division 2 a few times in the series. We've come close in some tournaments that people have hosted in Australia and New Zealand. But yeah, it's like because in the team you do build friendships and you get to sort of know one another more and whatnot, and you meet teammates in real life. That's probably the best experience you can ever have, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's all part of that community base, knowing one another, playing with each other more often, and then improving as people and players with one another. I think that's the biggest thing ever to take from Splatoon.
Yeah, for sure. Like just anything where you have like sort of a common common interest. It's just, it's always awesome to meet friends and doing it through that way. I am interested, sort of over the last few years, Splatoon, it's sort of, has it had its last Splatfest yet?
No, it's been announced though, and it's in next month. So
it's next month.
It's, I think, the 17th, I think it starts. It's a 3-day Splatfest, which is the longest we've ever had for a Splatfest. Usually the longest it's been, usually goes like over an hour, 24 hours, but then we've had one that went for 42 hours, and now this final Splatfest is going to go for 72 hours. So people have been irking up about this because like, oh, if Team Chaos win, what does that mean for Splatoon 3? Or if Team Order win, what does that mean for Splatoon 3? Because people are coming to this thing. It was like, oh, when's Splatoon 3 going to be announced? And like people thought at E3 maybe Splatoon 3 was going to be announced.
Okay.
I was in denial because like it was too soon. Splatoon 2 has been only out for 2 years.
Yeah, it seems too soon.
Yeah, and I don't think we're ready for Splatoon 3 yet. There's going to be one more update, and apparently Nintendo have said that there's going to be no more new weapons, no more stages and stuff like that. But you never know. It's Nintendo.
Yeah. Like, I was going to ask, like, with the support sort of slowing down, have you seen sort of a slowdown in the community and
not
uptake
really.
of the game?
Not really. Like, it's funny because every now and then when you join Turf War, you'll see like a random level 1 or level 2, and it's like, oh, there's a newbie in my lobby. And you kind of take from that, like, oh, if someone just bought the game, they just started playing it for the first time. I think there's always growth going on in the community for Splatoon 2. Whether people have been playing for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and they've slowly learnt there's a server and a community. I think now that the game's been out for so long, there probably is slowly coming a stalemate of people buying the game and being introduced to Oceanic and everything like that. But it's sort of hard to say because I don't know what the rest of the world is like with the regions. So, it's going to be stale eventually because we're going to have one more major update and then that's going to be it. So, it's all online games that are going to reach a stale point when there's going to be no more patches, no more updates. Like Overwatch, for example, every time they have a change, that affects their tournaments and everything like that. But Splatoon 2, I think after this last update, it's probably going to have a period where it's going to be a bit stale, nothing new, nothing fresh, which is going to force people to say, oh, where's Splatoon 3 already, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, like as far as Splatoon 3 goes, I can't really see it being on Switch. I don't know.
The rumors are the new powerful Switch, potentially the Switch Pro, I don't know what's going to be called, but they were saying they're going to maybe wait for that to happen, and then they will release it for that. Maybe. Yeah,
maybe, but it's still going to have to run on the Switch we got now. So
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's Nintendo. They always leave us hanging. So they.
Yeah, they just do whatever they want over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunch of crazy people.
That's so true. Yes.
Oh, actually, since it's just a free-flowing conversation, what do you think about sort of the idea of a brand new Switch model, whether it's going to be this mini, which is heavily rumoured for this year, and a Pro model? Do you want one, or?
I mean, it's probably not a bad idea because, like, you know how they had the 3DS XL and then they had the 2D? It's kind of like a marketing for that, really. If you want to play the not-so-high graphic games, sure, have a smaller Switch that runs longer and, it's smaller. I think it's, I hate to say it, but it's sort of money-making scheme, but at the same time, I think it can benefit gamers in the ways of there'll be high-quality games being brought to Switch. Like, we know, like when Witcher 3 got announced at E3, people were like, how is that going to be run on the Switch? Like, how's that going to happen?
It's a very good question. Yeah. Black magic.
Exactly. So I think it's probably perfect timing for Nintendo to maybe look at having a stronger, powerful Switch. Because if you're not going to have that, then how are you going to run Switch smooth at 60 frames per second at whatever resolutions and stuff like that? So, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably stick to the one I've got. No need to upgrade because I'm enjoying the games I've got on there already. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way, probably until I see it. I'll definitely be interested in a sort of a more powerful Switch to sort of run some more games at some higher frame rate and some higher, especially resolution. Resolution's a thing that gets downscaled on the Switch a lot.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm just playing like Crash Team Racing, for example, and it's 720 on your TV and it's 720
Switch.
Also on the Switch. They haven't done a thing where it will upgrade for your TV when you dock it.
Yep.
So it does look quite blurry when you're playing it on your TV.
Yep. There's a game. Just a quick one. There's a game I've got on the Switch and on my computer. It's called Grip. I think you may have seen it. For those who know what it is, it's a really fast racing game. It's pretty nuts. You go from one side of the wall to another side of the wall. You're upside down. You're racing this way, that way. I've got it on my Switch and my PC. I bought it on the Switch really cheap recently. Runs okay. But on the PC, it's no match. The PC is it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd hope so.
So I'm thinking maybe if the Switch Pro comes out, you could transfer it onto that. It would run probably better. You'd hope it would run better, but you never know.
Yeah, just a bit more leg room for developers to sort of be able to push those frame rates and resolutions up and not have to sacrifice it as much. With Witcher 3, it's going to be 520p or something on the Switch itself. Then I think 720 on the TV.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, so just graphics aside, I think just seeing that resolution bumped up a little bit will be worth an upgrade for me. But a lot of people,
fair enough.
A lot of people don't care, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, true.
And also, over on your Twitch, I see you're playing a lot of Pokemon, doing a lot of shiny hunting.
Yeah, I could be doing that.
Yeah, you could be. I myself am a big shiny hunter. Absolutely love doing that stuff in Let's Go. It's probably my favourite aspect of those games. Just
how many up to?
I don't know. I'm just sort of trying to get my favourites. I haven't played it in a little bit, but I've got.
Okay.
Was it 30 something? Probably.
Well, not too bad, man. Not too bad.
I sort of just get my favourites. Are you going for Are you going for all of them or something? Or?
Mate, I'm going for all of them.
Yeah.
I am absolutely going all out. It's a grind that's not too hard because the only thing to grind shiny hunting, you just have to be awfully patient. So streaming is a no-brainer because you can get involvement with the stream chat and the viewers.
Something to entertain you while you're doing it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
something to keep company.
I'm at about 70.
Oh, nice, man.
71. So yeah,
almost halfway. Yeah.
Yeah, well, over 1/3, so that's how I look.
So,
at
are you
it.
getting a living dex, or you're just getting
living dex?
Living dex, yeah, nice, yeah.
Dex. So that's 150. I think it's 150, 151 from memory. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and also in Pokemon Go, if I have a shiny in there that I can transfer to Pokemon Let's Go, I'll do that because it's essentially a shiny. Because like Pokemon Go shiny hunting is extremely difficult. Well, the chances are a lot lower. It's hard to get a shiny in Pokemon Go than it is Let's Go.
Yeah, you can't chain and Let's Go. I mean, go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let's go, whatever.
Yeah. So I do that. So yeah, it can take days for me to find a shiny sometimes, but I'll tell you now, my best luck I've had with a shiny hunt. I did a shiny hunt for Charmanders. I went for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Got them in over 3 days in total.
Wow, that's not too bad.
So
no.
yeah, the first one was a catch combo of 105, then 264, and then 528. So, and that was over the space of 3 days. So that was the most luck I've had, probably. Yeah,
well, the Pokemon I've got most in shiny form is Chansey because I was just doing Chansey in Cerulean Cave just to grind my levels up. And for some reason, coming home from work, I couldn't be bothered doing like a story game or whatever. What was satisfying me was just coming home and leveling up my Pokemon. Don't know why. That's what was scratching that itch for that week. So I was just grinding Chansey. And I was thinking to myself, it would be great if I find a shiny. It'd be fantastic. I find one. I'm like, oh, that's great. Actually, I didn't find it. What I did is I had it for like half a week. You know how you can't wreck your combo by turning off your Switch? Correct. You've got to keep it going. Correct. So I couldn't play any other game even if I wanted to. So I eventually get this Chansey. I'm like, well, I still want to level up some of my Pokemon, so I keep going. Get another shiny. I'm like, cool. And I was thinking, it'd be great if I get a shiny Snorlax. So I just keep going until I get a Snorlax. But another Chansey comes up, and I'm like, cool.
Oh, no.
Get that.
Nice.
I kept going until I try and get the Snorlax, and the Snorlax just never pops up. So I'm like, oh well, I've had enough. It's been literally, I think it was like 2 weeks. Switch the game hasn't been turned off, but I just get home, turn it on for like an hour.
Yep.
Catch some Chansey.
I'll save you some relief right now. You can actually safely turn it off as long as you don't close the game. If you turn it off at the power, but you can leave the game open.
Oh yeah. I've been like locking the Switch.
Oh, you're doing that?
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't just been leaving the Switch on yet.
Sorry. Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah. I just can't play any other game because I can't suspend the software and turn it off. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm not that silly.
Yeah, that's okay. Just checking.
What's your favorite shiny in the game?
Oh, well, look, I focus a lot more on what the disappointing shinies are.
Okay, cool.
And the most disappointing shiny is probably Gyarados. Because, like, you have a gold Magikarp, and then somehow you get a red Gyarados. Why don't you maintain the gold for the Gyarados?
I mean, red Gyarados is really cool, but obviously, since he was in gold and silver, you just get given him. Sort of the specialness of it's gone, like, not really there.
Yeah. As for favourite shiny, I don't think I really have a favourite shiny. It's like, are you just saying for Gen 1 or for all shinies?
Oh, we can go all shinies, yeah. I was thinking Gen 1 in this game. But
yeah, probably Ho-Oh is my favourite.
Yeah, he's a cool shiny,
It looks amazing. But from Gen 1, it's... Chansey looks weird, like green. It kind of looks like puke, no offense. But
I mean, I've got 3 of them, but yeah, he's not my favourite shiny by any means. Don't have to apologise.
I probably think... Zapdos, because it's my favourite Gen 1 Pokemon, so Zapdos, even though it's not different.
It's a bit of a boring shiny, though, isn't it?
It is. It's only because it's my favourite Gen 1
All
Pokemon,
the birds actually have really bad shinies. Those
Articuno's not too bad, though.
Does it? It's just like a paler version.
Yeah, it's okay.
And Moltres looks like just a burnt chicken.
Okay, so the thing I call for Moltres is the flaming burnt pink rubber chicken.
Yeah, it looks like just like rubber chicken. Looks worse than the normal
it's-
version. Like if they gave it like blue flames like Ponyta or something, that'd look sick.
Yes.
Look awesome.
Yes. That would be, yes. Well, that makes sense because you think blue flames are hotter than red flames, so...
Yeah, so it gets hotter. So, that's a hot shiny.
There you go.
I reckon my favourite shiny will probably be Porygon, just for how different it is.
Oh, yes.
And it's red and white, not red and white, blue and white. And it looks really cool.
Yes.
And I always wanted one, but in other games it was always sort of hard to get because, resetting the game corner or Diamond and Pearl, sort of, it was harder in that too, just with the rate. So I never went for one. And in this, obviously, it's easier because it actually spawns in the wild and you can do the combos and get it that way. But what actually happened to me is I found one and I went and I was watching TV. I was doing it for hours and hours and hours. It just wasn't popping up for me. The luck wasn't there. And I'm going in and out of this building, sort of make it respawn. And I look down just as I've gone back into the building and there it is. But it was too late. I'm already back.
Oh, no.
So, because I was just like, I must have been distracted something on TV, and I saved the clip, and it's literally 2 minutes of this shiny Porygon, just running around,
Just floating around,
and then me just going into the building. That's all it is.
If it makes you any feel better, I've missed 2 shinies. So
Who are they?
one was a Bellsprout, and the other one was, I think, a Weedle. Yeah. So when I saw them, they were in the distance. I ran up to them, excited, and as soon as I got close to it, disappeared.
Ooh, that's a tease.
My heart.
That's a tease.
Yeah, it was so savage, but anyway, I got him back. I got him eventually. So, but yeah, that was just some shattering moments you can have when you're shiny hunting, because like you're putting all this time and energy into shiny hunting, and surprisingly, it can be quite draining. Because like you have to focus, you have to keep looking around. Because like the worst place to shine for me is something like Seafoam Caves or Cerulean Cave, because you have the atmosphere sort of thing going on where there's the random glitteries. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
And like you're like, oh, is that a shiny? Oh no, it's just the atmosphere. Or
Cerulean Cave was the same way. Sort of everything's just glittering. It's like, oh, is that something? No, it's not.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's move our Pokemon talk to the Gen 8, the brand new games. How are you feeling about the brand new games?
Look, not sold yet, but because like, okay, I'm gonna sound so picky here, but too bad.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
So I don't know if you remember in Sun and Moon when they did some directs where they released what the second, third evolutions of the starters look like. They haven't done that yet for Gen 8 Pokemon. And I don't want to think they're doing that for a reason. I'm just not sure if they're planning on doing it yet. Because some of the leaks that people have claimed that, like, oh, this could be real. And, like, the designs potentially look rather disappointing. Maybe that's why they're holding off. But one thing I will say I didn't mind was the Dynamax raids. The Dynamax raids?
Yeah, that's it. Or the max raid battles, yeah. That's what they're technically called.
Yeah, so basically they've taken that element from Pokemon Go, if you think about it. Like, I don't know if you play much Pokemon Go, but when you're doing like level 1 to level 5 raids of Pokemon Go, the Pokemon on the screen look rather larger than usual.
Well, they actually said that those two things were being simultaneously developed. So
there you go.
That idea directly comes from Pokemon Go, like. Yeah, which I think is a good thing, actually. Like, having a sort of a co-op option in the games is really cool.
Yes,
If you don't care about battling one another, fair enough. But having the whole thing of teaming up and taking down this big force to try and catch it and get items, I think is really cool.
Correct. Yeah, and the other thing I've liked so far that I was wondering before they did the direct if like Pokemon will appear in the open world, like how in Pokemon Let's Go has worked. When they showed the massive open areas, I was glad to see Pokemon roaming around. But I think there was a clip or so where there was actually, I don't know if they're in the wild area or it was just a certain route where there was just the smaller Pokemon appearing. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be a permanent setting where you can decide to have Pokemon on and off at random appearing. But from what the direct showed, it looked like it could be a thing. Not 100% sure, but I think it's cool that they maintained that Pokemon roaming around. You can see them on the map and everything. It's cool.
Yeah.
The story mode we haven't learnt of, which is probably what they're going to do in the next direct. The doggos? Not sure. What do you think of the dogs? Like the dog holding a sword.
I actually really like the dogs holding a sword.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
in X and Y when you've got Xerneas, he's got like sort of like the sword legs.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
you've got if
it
it was just like I'm a dog and I've got a sword tail, ooh, look out! I think it's actually quite cool, but he's not holding the sword.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I quite like it. People are like, oh, how does it eat? It's like, oh, you put
that's a good point.
You put the sword down, you eat, and you pick it up again.
Because like, I was disappointed when I saw that because like in Gen 5, I think it was when you had the Timber, Conkeldurr, and the other one which I keep forgetting. Yeah, and Farfetch'd. The Pokemon holding something, I don't like that idea. I think it's lazy. And like, well, supposedly there's a rumor that Farfetch'd is going to have a Galar evolution thing, so that'd be cool to see. If it doesn't hold a leak, it'll hold something else maybe when it evolves. But
Yeah, I did hear that rumor or the leak. Yeah, I read through it.
Yeah, but Pokemon holding things, I think it's just lazy. Sorry, Nintendo. And Grookey, if Grookey isn't playing a drum set in his third evolution form, then
See, I heard that he evolves into a drummer. I'm like, because as someone who at least used to play drums and really sort of like loves drumming and sort of all that stuff, I'm like, well, if this guy evolves into a drummer, that'll be sick. I would love that. Maybe not if the drum set's a part of him. That'd be weird. But it's just
true.
Yeah.
If Score Bunny becomes a firefighting, I just nah.
Yeah, that'll be disappointing. I don't understand where they come from. Like going through firefightings all the time. Like Blaziken, Gen 3, awesome.
Yep.
Infernape, still really cool. But it's kind of like, oh, why'd you do a firefighting again? Oh, whatever. He's still cool. Then Embor, I was like, all right, this guy sucks. Like he looks stupid and he's a firefighting again. And just like to Pig when it was first announced and seeing it just stand up and become like a punching bag. It's like, why? He could have been like an awesome like ball on its legs, like a fire ground or something. Could have been really cool. But
this is why Gen 4 is the best Pokemon generation, because they all look awesome. No offense to anyone else, but personally my favorite is Gen 4 because the starters and their evolutions look awesome. But yeah, Torterra's my favorite boy. So
Torterra is awesome. He is like, Turtwig, like evolving to
Grottle. There you go.
Yeah, Grottle. I couldn't remember the middle one, but
saved you there.
Yeah. Gen 4 is great. It's not my favorite. It's probably down the line a little bit, but I still love all the generations for their own special reasons.
Fair enough.
My favourite's Gen 3, probably mainly because that was my first generation, and that's how I got into it that way. But yeah, Gen 4 would be probably middle somewhere, maybe.
Fair enough.
The most recent generation, Gen 7, would be at the bottom for me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, because I guess you played it and you weren't that overly happy with it, I guess? Or
yeah, I think the region leaves a lot to desire. Didn't have much exploration, cut a lot of areas off before sort of like in the story, and it just talked a lot. You got to town, they wouldn't shut up, and it just like
You're right,
it sort of ruined the sense of exploration, which is one of the main reasons I like Pokemon. And
that's fair.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, but I know I'm probably in the minority on that one. So,
I mean, my first game was also Diamond Pearl / Platinum. I played the 5th gen game, which I can't remember if it was X or Y or Black. I think it was Black and White. Gen 5.
Gen 5, yeah.
The game Gen 5 was good, but the Pokemon were deplorable. I'm sorry, Gen 5 lovers. It's just the worst.
I really like Gen 5. I know. My co-host Bryce, that's one of his favourite generations.
Sorry, Bryce.
Because of the Pokemon.
Okay.
Like there are some which are like, okay, fair enough. Like what's it, Conkeldurr and that evolution line.
Yeah.
Really don't like those ones. And there's like the two fighting guys who look like Muppets.
Oh, Thork and Mac or something. Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah, I can't remember the names.
They're lazy looking things too. But, like it's just a rock thing, just in a karate outfit. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, okay. And there's two of them, and they look pretty much the same. So, all right, this is weird. And I guess that's another thing. Like, they're actually in karate outfits. That's weird. I know, like, other Pokemon have had, like, Hitmonchan and that have had, like, gloves and that. It's like, okay. That is a bit strange, but having I can't get
one
over
thing
that
too
whole
I hated. One thing too I hate about most of the Pokemon Gen 5 is there's a lot of single evolutions, like the standard. There's no second evolution for Pokemon. Like those two, for example, the key examples of not having a second or third evolution. And I think was Drugidon in that one in Gen 5?
Yep.
Yeah, what was that meant to be? Honestly, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a weird-looking dragon. It's just... I don't know. Picky again. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess you get it at the very end too, so you don't really have an opportunity to sort of train it up as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh. So Gen 4 is your favourite. What's your top 3 generations of Pokemon?
Gen 4, Gen 4, Gen 7, Gen 1 probably.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Pretty basic, nothing too amazing or outstanding.
Yep.
Just, yeah. Gen 7 was actually kind of cool. I think it was very unique.
Yeah. Because Bryce and I usually poo-poo Sun and Moon. What are your reasons for putting it in your second position?
I think there was a lot of things they did right with the game, including all the features where... I can't remember the name, but the Poké-Lego thing where you can send Pokemon to get... They go hunting, they can go training.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And there's other things that I can't remember what they did, but that was a cool feature. You could ride on your Pokemon, which was cool. So instead of riding your bike everywhere, you could ride on a Taurus or something like that. I didn't mind the story. The story was okay. I liked the fact that some of the Pokemon had the sort of tropical forms, like you had the Alolan Executor, which was really
the Alolan forms were so cool. That was an awesome idea.
The only one problem was, I don't know what the heck they were thinking with Alolan, what's Meowth's
Persian.
Evolution? Persian, what was that meant to be?
He got stung by bees, he got a big swollen head.
That's exactly what happened.
Or whatever's in the tropical setting, wasps or something, I don't know.
Yeah. and the I guess they call them the legendaries, the
Tapu Koko,
those ones. They were cool. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the Cosmog and how it eventually grew into your legendary that you chose of the game. It's just, I don't know, I really liked it.
I like all of those things too. I got nothing against the Pokemon. I think the new Pokemon designs and even like the recreations of Pokemon from Kanto are really cool. For me, I just get hung up on the actual region itself. That's just what disappoints me. And it's all the new storytelling where they just talk and talk and talk, but really the story isn't interesting enough to like warrant that. Yeah. That's what gets me. And even when I went to play it again when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon come out, I'm like, I can't play through this again. It's too boring. I get to like a town, and I'm just like mushing A. I'm looking up at the TV and I look down, and like they're still talking. Oh my god! And like I've done it before. I know they're not going to say anything interesting.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on going. But
I guess the only thing for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, from my point of view, looking at a shiny perspective, shiny hunting in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is probably one of the easiest games out of besides Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, because there's so many methods you can shiny hunt in that game.
The SOS battles and all that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the warp, you can do the warp thing, and your chances increase massively. So, like there's a guy called A-Drive on Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah, I watch A-Drive. Yeah,
yeah, he's liking that game. It's insane. Like second look at the Terrakion, he got a shiny.
Really?
That's just ridiculous. Yeah, second account on a Terrakion was a shiny. So, yeah, I think the fact that the shiny odds in that game can be favourable has really helped that game, as well as people wanting to play Pokemon, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, but yeah, I played Moon, and I really enjoyed it, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm keen to go back and, like, get through Ultra Moon. Yeah, I just got to get through the story. Like, it's just...
Yeah, it's fair. Press A. Mash A.
It just kind of kills me. It's just so boring. Like, in the new games when they got, like, what's it called? The wild area. It's like... Hopefully, this means that at least for this bit, there is no story. I can just like sort of explore and go and like find items and find Pokemon.
Less mashing A.
Because like for me, that's what I want in the Pokemon game, just to be set free and find things and be left up to my own devices. I don't really care if the evil team's doing this and the rivals saying this. It's like you don't say anything interesting.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite starter yet?
No, I actually don't. I'm sort of, I don't know. I'm sort of leaning towards... Any day you ask me, it'll be different. I'll be like, Grookey. I know if Grookey evolves into a drummer, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. I'm afraid Scorbunny's going to become a firefighting. But Scorbunny probably as like, just judging them off the first evolution, Scorbunny's really cool. Really cool design. I like how it's nice and happy and chirpy, and I really like its personality. So I'll probably go there. And Scobble's really cool too.
Yeah, so it's hard to pick.
Yeah. So what about yourself?
Like I said earlier, I have to wait to see what they evolve into in the end, because that will determine for me which one I like.
Actually, you brought up before, like, you're a bit worried because they haven't shown off the final evolutions. I actually think it would be better if they don't show off the final evolutions.
Yeah, I can understand that point of view too, because like it leaves you hanging, anticipating like which one is it going to be, what's it going to look like, and I mean, because for Sun and Moon they obviously did show us. So it made it easier to choose, but I guess if they're saving it till the launch...
I think that took a lot out of it too, because X and Y, we played through that, and I chose Fennekin, and I had no idea what that little fox was going to evolve into. When it evolved the first time, I'm like, oh, like I actually had like a... While it was evolving, I'm like, oh my god, what's it going to turn into? And when it reached its final evolution, it's like, what the hell is this? It's like a big fluffy
holding
witch.
A stick. And it's holding a stick.
Yeah.
Again, another Pokemon holding a thing. Oh, well.
They just put it in their pocket. It's like a kangaroo pouch where they put all their items.
It's a Kangaskhan, essentially, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't choose one. I mean, I will admit, though, Corviknight looks cool.
Yeah. All the new Pokemon look really cool.
That's all I can say. Corviknight is my favourite looking thing at the moment. So
Yeah. I don't want to talk about this too much, but we did bring it up last episode, and I would like to get a different perspective from yourself. Bryce and I last week were quite disappointed in sort of the lack of the national decks in these new games. Not the national decks itself, but just the lack of basically all the Pokemon's code being in the game. So then they can't be transferred to this game at all, and so to us that's going to affect the post game and a fair few things that a lot of people would be looking for. Completing the Pokedex and doing all that thing which you've done in past games. Does it matter much to you, or?
No, doesn't matter too much to me. I think the thing is I'm interested in more than ever is these new Pokemon and their shiny forms, because no one's actually brought that up. And so, like, was it Dreadnought? That Pokemon that they released? Dreadnought. They were saying if that thing had a shiny form, they should have the same colours as Bowser.
I did see that. That'd be cool as. Like, I saw the mock-up of it. Looks really cool. I'd love that too. It'll come out and it'll just be it's going to be like a bit fainter in colour or something. But
Probably. Yeah. It'd be disappointing. Like, they'll just give it a gold paint but lower the contrast of the gold.
Yeah. Job done.
One job.
Ship it.
As for the fact not having National Day, I don't think it's going to impact it too much. I think it's probably a good thing that they give a main focus to the newer Pokemon. So I think it probably gives more excitement for those who are eager to discover these new Pokemon that are in the game. So it's sort of... The reason I sort of say that is because you say that they haven't found the code or whatever it was that you said.
Oh, no. It's not that they haven't found it. It's just like, the reason Game Freak give is that there's a lot to do in these games before launch. Modelling all the Pokemon is going to take a lot of time, and they can't do it in that time limit.
With that, I think this is a long shot, but in tying in with a potentially new Switch, a new Switch that's really powerful, they may do an update where if the Switch Pro, that they include every Pokemon. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a long shot, because with a more powerful Switch, you could be able to load more modules or models or whatever you like to think it'll load, capable of. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a power issue why they're not on there.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's just something I thought I'd bring up because last week Bryce and I talked about it for about 20 minutes.
I just like to think that maybe they giving it a more focus on the newer Pokemon, which I think is a good idea.
I do too. Like back in Gen 5, Black and White, like, all of it before the game, all you could catch was like the brand new Pokemon. And that made it with like no Pikachu, no older Pokemon in there to sort of mix it up. But like obviously they can still do that, but once you reach the post game, they're still not there, and you still can't. I don't know. I was disappointed, but I sort of let it go a bit because it was really bumming me out, to be honest. Because
the only thing is though, the only dumb thing, I don't know if you brought this up, is Niantic have managed to model up to 4 generations of Pokemon on a mobile app. What's stopping Game Freak of absolutely doing that? Because like, a Switch would be capable.
In Pokemon Go, it's the same models as the 3DS games.
Correct. The 3DS.
Yeah, so they're using the same models. It's all shared.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and for these upcoming games, pretty much what it's going to be is sort of touched up models from the 3DS. So there's an example of Pikachu in Pokemon Let's Go and X and Y. But in X and Y, his face is pretty much just drawn on. Whereas in the new games, his mouth is actually a shape, his eyes are actually a shape.
So more detail.
Yeah, there's like a lot more detail on them. So like, I guess the Y works there for like the models, but everything else needs to be sort of touched up. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not too bummed about it. I think having a stronger focus on new Pokemon is good. How many is it new? Is there a new amount of like a number confirmed for a new Pokemon? Is it 80 or something?
There's nothing confirmed, but in that leak, there's about 120.
So that's pretty good, though.
Oh, absolutely.
New Pokemon. I don't mind it. I think it's a decision that they have decided to go with. It might tie in with their new Pokemon Home or Pokemon Sleep or whatever they've got planned.
So they can't come into your new games, but don't worry. You can put them on your pillow. You can pat them in your sleep. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it, boys. She's right.
Mate, that poison Pokemon you had, it should be fine when you wake up in the morning.
You're worried about your Arbok not being in these new games, but you can put it in your bed. You can put it in your bed. Fantastic.
Oh, gosh. I don't want to think anymore of what you just said.
Snake in a bed. Jesus.
There's a snake in my boot.
Well, you been to watch Toy Story 4?
Not yet. No. To be honest, I haven't watched a movie in 3 years. 3 years? 4 years?
Sorry, what? You haven't watched a movie?
No, I haven't watched a movie.
Now, how did you... Sorry, this is way off topic, but how did you...
That's fine.
How have you never watched a movie... Well, not never. How have you not watched a movie in 3 years? How does that happen?
Video games.
Oh. Yeah, well, they do that. They seem to suck you away from the... So,
I mean, the only one movie I want to watch is the Detective one, Detective Pikachu. That's the only movie I want to watch, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
I think. It was a good movie. If you're a big Pokemon fan, I think you'll really enjoy it.
I want to watch it because Torterra's supposedly in it, which I think he is.
I can confirm he probably could be. Yes.
Well,
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, because it's been there for ages and I haven't gone to watch it yet, so I'll wait for DVD. Or someone pirate, maybe. I don't know.
I'm going to ignore if you said that. There's a bad boy move there.
Sorry, everyone. I will legitimately go to the movies and watch it.
But just before we were talking, you said that you do your own podcast, so you like your Splatoon podcast.
Yes.
This is something I didn't know before we hit record, so I'd like to hear all about it, and I'm sure people out there would too. So
the idea behind the Splash Down Under podcast was the fact that we had... actually, I'll start again. The idea behind the Splash Down Under podcast was, in the US, there's a mob called Inc.TV. Now, they run tournaments online and locally, and I was late to their Twitch channel when I discovered they did live podcasts, and then they'd save it, and then it'd be on the podcast apps or SoundCloud or wherever they put it. So, unfortunately, I got onto them as soon as they finished up. They when I got onto them, there was probably about 4 episodes after I listened to them, and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. There's nothing to listen to. And I thought, well, maybe because Australia hasn't got anything. There's nothing happening in Oceanic. There's not much media coverage. We're like the Oceanic people, we tweet and retweet things to spread the word. But then I thought, why not just do one for Oceanic, and maybe it'll give an opportunity for people that are outside of the Oceanic community to sort of know what goes on inside. So basically, the start idea was to interview people and teams after each Oceanic Series match. But eventually, it just became into a bit of a interview, saying like, "Oh, who are you? What have you like? What's your first time playing Splatoon? When did you buy it? When did you hear it? When did you hear the community?" It just became to more of a interview with players, asking about their experiences and why they've been playing Splatoon for this period and whatnot. So it's been pretty well received, I think. Probably I don't know if you know a player called Lardius. They're based in West Australia. They've been to the World Champs twice, both on both different teams. But yeah, so having her on an episode was amazing for knowing what her life in Splatoon's been like, and I guess having that episode, that was only the third or fourth episode in, and people were like, yes, we want more, please give us more. So I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And so I was pumping out an episode, usually a week or so, just sitting down with players, asking why they play this game that they play, what's been their most enjoyable experiences, favorite weapons, blah blah blah. And yeah, this year I've sort of taken a step back on it for now because I've been focusing on being competitive, been focusing a bit more on streaming, and being involved with the community. So I try to get one out every now and then, but yeah, so Splash Under was just a thing for people to learn what goes on down under, and for people to learn the teams and the players, and yeah, it's been really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, like it seems really cool. Like having like we do a Nintendo podcast, which is concentrates on the niche of Nintendo games and that. But like even narrowing it down again, just a Splatoon competitive play, like that's a really cool idea. Yeah.
It's amazing how much you can actually learn from I know you play Splatoon, but why? And oh, you've done this and that with the game. Oh, that's pretty cool. The thing I remember one of the questions I used to ask the players, and the question was, what are your thoughts on the weapon balances, patches, blah blah blah. And no joke, we'd probably spend over half the episode talking about just weapons and patches. So I'm like, this is dragging on a bit too long than I expected. So I thought I'd narrow down on the question and just sort of focus on maybe a bit more about the person and the team and whatnot. So it's surprising because like you sort of know the person on the outside, but when you sit down and talk with them for a certain period of time, you learn so much more and you become open to who they are and what they are as a player and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been good fun. Yeah. Can't no regrets with it. I think it's been pretty good.
Like you said, you wanted to do it, sort of give people outside of Australia a bit of a taste of what this community is like in Australia. But was this like one of your first podcasts you started, or had you had a bit of experience?
No, that was my first, and I still remember the first episode. It took me 3 takes to do an intro.
No, really? Yeah. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't flow out. I know it took a while for me to sort of get it first take most of the time, yeah.
But it was just different because the one I remember watching the first, the Ink TV one, they did theirs live, and they had questions in from the chat, people in the stream chat asking the people that were on the show. I sort of thought about doing that, but I thought at the same time there probably wouldn't be much involvement, so it was probably better just to start just doing them recorded and upload them to SoundCloud, and then people were listening to them. People were like, oh, that was so cool, can you do an episode with this person, blah blah blah, and then people were actually asking me if they wanted to come on the episode, and it's been it's been exciting actually.
Yeah. Have you, like you said, sounds like you've had quite a positive response to it from those who are still playing the game and into the community?
Yes, absolutely. Like when I had Lardis on, that was very eye-opening to everyone else because, like, learning who she was and what she's been managed to achieve. And then, it's just been, like, everyone wants to come on because they have a good time as well. Playing the game with others and talking with others while playing is fun, but just sitting down and talking with people one-on-one or one with the team, it's just amazing fun. Yeah, it's enjoyment. It's satisfaction of having fun just by simply sitting down and talking with someone about your favorite game. So yeah.
Like I've found just like doing this podcast, just all the people we meet through doing it, whether they're big Nintendo fans or just video game fans or just people that enjoy podcasts. It's really cool, sort of getting to meet people like that. That's why I reached out on Twitter and said, who would like to come on? And that's when you answered. It's cool just to be able to meet people through doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, podcasts have really picked up in popularity, so it's kind of like the right time to get on that bandwagon.
Yeah. So you said you've sort of slowed down on it a bit. Are you going to keep doing episodes when you can?
Yeah, for now, I think. But yeah, I think there's going to be a time where I will probably stop doing them. But yeah, you never know. If the game keeps going and growing, I'll continue. But yeah, nothing lasts forever. So
I guess it's one of those things that rides or dies with sort of the community impact of the game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Do you reckon you'll try and bring it to your Twitch channel? I know you said like, not to start off with, but it could be a cool evolution.
It could be, yeah, potentially. The thing is, though, I'm sort of running out of people to interview. And there's no really point in sitting down with the people you already interviewed and learn more again. But yeah, I don't know. It's something to consider, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's cool to hear about that. I'll have to go and give it a listen because, literally just found out about it when I'm talking to you now.
Yeah, cool.
All right, we might end the episode there. Thank you very much for coming on, Wacko Jacko.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having me on. It's been good fun talking to another Nintendo fan. And
yeah, absolutely. So your podcast, your Twitch streams, tell us all about it, where we can find it.
Okay, so the podcast should be on SoundCloud somewhere. If you just search Splashdown Under podcast, I think it might be still on Apple Podcasts, maybe. I've been slowly putting them onto YouTube. Search Wacko Jacko _ at the end. The Wacko, the O on the end of Jacko is an O _. Twitter _Wacko Jacko. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get all the links in the description. But yeah, I'm Discord as well. You know, places. Sorry, you'll let me know, let me know, and I'll put it all in the show notes for people to click on. Absolutely, that'll be easy.
And you can find me at iDrewby, you can find Bryce at IVRevan, and you can find the show at the House of Mario. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave us a subscribe and maybe go and leave us a cheeky review on iTunes, Google Play, whatever social media you use. And of course, we are part of the 8-Bit Collective, 12 podcasts and 20 podcast creators putting awesome audio content in your ears. And yeah, that brings us to the end. Let me just pull up the Nintendo JUKEBOX. It's by Moss Grown, and it's called Pocket Monsters, and it's a dubstep remix of all the themes sort of put together from the Game Boy games. Yes, we got there. Awesome.
Nicely done.
All right, thank you very much for coming on, dude, and we'll see you around the Twitters.